Welcome to Club Wealth TV, guys. Michael Hellickson here. I'm here with Adrian Lally and with Attilio Leonardi. And these guys are crushing it. And guys, we're going to go in deep on their business. I'm going to have them tell you their production. We're going to find out a little bit more about how their business is structured. And I want you guys to ask your questions in the comments. So let's start with this. Adrian, tell me, where are you guys at production-wise? How many transactions did you close, like in your best year so far? How many transactions closed?
Well, I would say that would be 2022, where we hit about 101 million.
Uh-huh.
And Attilio, do you know the transaction count? We had a really good dollar per transaction amount.
You know what? Hey, folks,
if
you're listening, all you need to know is one number, 101 million. Who cares how we split that pie up? We help people from all through the spectrum. But it was.
I actually am curious about the number of transactions, though. The reason I say that the transaction count matters is because we get people all the time, I'm in Southern California and I did, 3 billion in sales. And I'm like, dude, let me tell you, it takes just as much work to do 3 billion in sales in California as it does to do, 3 million in, Topeka, Kansas.
Yeah.
But do you have a ballpark on kind of what you're?
I think it was about 80.
About 80.
No. But then our best year, like the volume, like the transaction side wise, we've always had this goal to hit 200, and the best year was like 188.
Okay,
so
gotcha.
I mean,
That's perfect. That's yeah. Okay, because that gives people kind of an idea of how your business compares to theirs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, okay, so that's very interesting. So now you had shared something with me just before we got started that so 2020, you said 2022 was very good for you, but then coming into 2023. You made a mistake that I think a lot of agents make. And you were having a conversation with a buddy of mine, Jay Kinder. And Jay and I have been friends for, oh my gosh, we've known each other for probably 25, 30 years. And he puts things a little bit less delicately than I probably do. But
we love him for it.
I know. I love it. Very straight.
Like no filter.
There's a lot of beeping.
I probably would use.
But a lot of beeping in his coaching.
That's my point. Yeah, that's right. There's a lot of, you got to bleep out a lot of stuff. But that being said, so what did Jay say? You guys, he gave you some advice, and I always tell people don't try and get out of production too soon, right?
Yeah.
And really, until you're in about tier 5, generally speaking, until you're about tier 5, you shouldn't even be thinking about getting out of production. And tier 5 is 250 to 500 transactions a year. But so you guys, if I understand correctly, started to come out of production in about 2022. And you were just under that 200 transactions a year mark. Tell us how that went.
Well, 2022 was great. We had the right people, we had the right plan, and things seemed to be going very well. And then 2023 hit, and it was like this major shift, and we got worried. So Attilio and I decided, okay, we have to get back into production.
Hold on, we got concerned. Worried is something that psychologically breaks you down and you quit.
Yeah.
Concerned is, okay, we got a challenge here and let's figure out what the pivot is.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So we jumped back in and had to lead by example with our agents. And Attilio and I do not ever like to be like the top performers or top producers on the team. We want our team members to be outperforming us. However, 2023 was pretty challenging. We had to figure some stuff out, and here we are in 2024, and things have gotten much better.
The most powerful message you can give to your agents, as well as your kids and anybody around you, show them. Mm-hmm. Show them how to do it.
Yeah, that's true. So, so this is, I like the real stuff. There's too much, everything's perfect and everything's great all over the internet and Facebook and all this other garbage. And so I really appreciate your transparency and your honesty and vulnerability on this, because honestly, I think that's what really helps people. And so, and let's call it what it is. Most agents went through some stuff in 23 and are still going through it now in 24 as we're recording this. And I want to talk about, you were talking about Jay, and I was having a conversation with Jay down in Dallas here a couple months ago, and Jay went through some stuff at a point in his career. I said, Jay, what was the single biggest mistake you made? And do you know what his response to me was? Can you guess what it was?
Growing that mullet.
Well, there's that. I mean, I'm tagging him in this post for sure. That's hilarious. I love that guy. Dude, it's funny. When he got out of that Rolls Royce, the first thing I saw was the mullet. And I'm like, is that really Jay? And then he turned around. I'm like, oh my gosh, it is Jay. Anyway, no, what he said his biggest mistake was not getting small enough fast enough. And
Mm.
I see a lot of people make that mistake when markets shift and things get challenging. And you
Cutting
do,
the costs, like
yeah.
cutting those expenses and
And then
being
cut them
very
again, and
aware.
then cut
Yeah.
them again, and get lean.
Yeah, you got to get super lean, super fast, and all the while you got to find ways to ramp up production, which ends up meaning, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I guess I feel like this is kind of what's happened for you is you end up getting back in production in a big way, and you end up having to really work hard at the grassroots level to make business happen. Is that essentially what you did?
And I think there's two key important things when you as a rainmaker get back in production. One, there's obviously a cash injection because you can close deep. And then number two, you get deep in the trenches of your business and find out what's going on.
Yeah.
Because the agents are the same like fake book. They'll tell you all the good stuff, but they won't tell you the real deal. But when you're side by side, shoulder to shoulder with them, you know exactly what's going on in the trenches, and they will slowly but reluctantly communicate what they need help with. But if you're side by side, you see it, and as a rainmaker, you execute.
Yeah.
And I want to say the other thing that we've realized is that we have a lot of systems, processes, protocols that we put in place, and it just they start to kind of drift. And I'm like, wait, how did we get here? Like, we had all these different checklists and things that we did for a reason. And wait, when did we stop doing that? So
Well,
getting back in there. Yes.
the cats are away and the mice will play. And I was a motorcycle instructor for the basic rider course for like 7 years, and we would come together once a year to go through the whole process as students and instructors. And then our master level instructor would say, no, stop doing that. You need to do this. And I guarantee you guys have been doing this for 20 years. They will drift through the year with their coaching and training, and as we all do. And so you got to come back to center. And, I always say on these webinars, we're not going to tell anybody who's listening to this anything you don't already know. We're just going to slap you around and remind you. Just get back to the basics. That's it. Okay, done with the webinar.
I absolutely love that you just said that, because that's the drum I pound all the time. And I got to tell you, and I don't care what level you're at. I've seen people in this last 12 months, I've witnessed people go from 1,000 transactions a year down to 450 in a
wow.
year. And I've seen the opposite happen. I've seen people go from 400 to 800 transactions this year in the last 12 months. And what's the difference? I can tell you the difference between the two. It's basics. They've gotten back to fundamentals. And the ones that are having the production, the ones that are having the success, they're rooted in the fundamentals. Now, I'm thinking about a great example is Amber Flynn Jarrett. I don't know if you guys know Amber Flynn Jarrett, a wonderful gal out of Cookeville, Tennessee. Population 35,000. Last year, 497 transactions. This year, she's on track to do 693. Great example of somebody who's just really rooted in the fundamentals. And so I think it's healthy for people to hear big producers like you guys. You guys are what we would call tier 4, right? You're doing 150 to 250 transactions in a year. And I think it's really good to hear from a tier 4 that even we've got to get back to the fundamentals. And when we drift from that, not only does our production suffer, but our systems suffer. And I think that's one of the big disconnects that happens with a lot of bigger team leaders is you get so disconnected from what's going on a day-to-day basis that you don't have enough of the right, and it's not limited to you guys, it's everybody. Let me just start with this. Anytime I take on somebody in tier 5, 6, 7 in coaching, this is always a problem I've got to fix every single time. It's always a problem that we've got to fix, is that they don't have the right accountability systems in place to ensure that their checklists are being followed, that people are doing the things they think they're doing. And so this is not news to me, and it's not new. This isn't unique to you guys. So I'm glad to hear you say that. So let me ask this. What steps have you taken? I want to come back to the checklists. What steps have you taken to ensure that the checklist, the fundamentals, the systems that got you to tier 4 to begin with and then subsequently you found out, oh my gosh, they're not being followed. How have you now gone back and said, okay, we need to get back to doing those things that got us where we were to begin with? What are you doing?
I'll tell you the number one thing is that as a rainmaker or whatever, you don't want to be that silo of information where everything's all up in your head. You've got to be a documenting company. What do we mean by that, Adrian?
We have a SOP for everything. And if we mess up,
go to the bathroom and you don't know how to wipe your beak, we've got an SOP on that.
Yep. So we have SOPs for everything. And even, there's things in the future that we may not know we need SOPs for, but as soon as we realize, boom, we're creating those SOPs and it's easy to search within the drive. And I'm following the SOPs. Yeah.
Between Adrian and I, 40 years in the business combined, over 1,600 transactions, and that's a high volume in Hawaii because our median sale price for a single family home is $1 million. But we'll help somebody sell a studio for $100K and help them fix it up, and we give them the same amount of energy, effort, and authenticity. And we've got $25 million listings. We didn't do the 100 million with 4 $25 million listings. There were a bunch of them, and we help everybody. And this is what
as long as they're nice. If they're not nice, we don't work with them. I don't care what kind of home they have. If they're jerks, then we're not going to work with them.
And we give our team members permission to open up a can of whoop, you know what, on them and tell them that we are not a good fit. And then send them down to our most hated competitor. No, I do not. We just say, hey, we're not a good fit here, because the yelling and the screaming, I get it. There's two kinds of people in the world. People that get angry because of the situation, and then there's angry people. We're not therapists. We can't help angry people, but I can help people that are angry in the moment that'll come back to the best versions of themselves. And the number one goal when you sit down with a client is to feel like the shoulders drop and they just go, thank you. No matter their situation. If after you're meeting with them, the relief it emanates and they're so glad to be in front of you, you've done your job as an agent.
Okay. So I can appreciate that. Let's come back to the checklists really quick. You said you've got them in a drive. All your SOPs are on a checklist. They're all on a drive. How are you ensuring now that they're getting used?
Number one, here's number one. We listen to all our recorded calls.
The inbound calls.
And then we pick one, and the team is assigned that recorded call, and then they all listen to it. And then we have we have a morning huddle, 8:45 to 9 a.m. on Zoom. Thursday is Thirsty Thursday day, because we get thirsty about receiving feedback on our recorded call, and the entire team will give them the good, the bad, and the ugly on their recorded call and pour into them and love on them. I even take my recorded call is actually coming up this week and will be recorded too. And I replied to that email, please give me feedback. The culture on our team, and it should be everywhere, in any family, church organization, feedback is a gift. Feedback is a gift.
Okay,
that's on the
listen to recorded calls.
That's one. The other thing is that all of our administrative staff. So, for example, on a new listing, we have a listing intake form. So it's if an agent takes a listing, it's going to get kicked back. We're missing this, this, and this. So it'll just get bounced back to the agent if they've not followed an SOP, or they'll be reminded, hey, we need this, this, and this, and then we can move to the next step. So it's our administrative people. We have virtual assistants that are in the Philippines, and then we have, on island people in the office as well. And we all work together to make sure that we're following those lists. And if it's the agent that needs to, get that document or that item, it's back to them. Yep.
And I heard you say, Mike, but all good coaches say this. Write this down. I would say that here's a very simple checklist that every agent themselves and or their team need to be following. Adrian, you explain it. 100, 10, or 1. What is that, Adrian? 100 or 10 or 1?
Every day, to win the day, it's 100 calls or 10 voice to voice, like a contact, or 1 appointment. And then they've done their part for the day. They've won the day. Of course, agents will do more, but that's the minimum. And then they report in at the end of day, or the virtual assistants will pull it from our CRM, because the CRM tracks what they're doing. And then it's reported out to the entire team.
And then there's a group email, and I'm big on, if you want to get information quickly and just be able to understand what it is, colors, visual. So you're either green for the day or red for the day, and you can get which one of those colors represents you. You either now it's 100 dials because everybody has control over dialing. By the way, this other coach who's not as good as you said this one thing. How do you get realtors to stop working? Put a phone in front of them.
That was from Fanatical Prospecting, the book.
Jeb's a good guy. I like Jeb. He's a good guy. Jeb's a good guy. He actually, that's not his best book, though. I think Jeb's best book is Selling the Price Increase was a good one. But anyway, that being said, so let's come back. First of all, how many people are on your team altogether?
27.
How many agents? How many staff?
Adrian, go ahead.
Well, including us with the agents, there's 11. And then the rest are virtual assistants and staff.
Okay. And what island do you guys?
Oahu.
All of them.
Okay. All right. I always tell people Oahu's not Hawaii. Oahu's like LA meets Hawaii. Like, you guys got a 4-lane freeway. You can't call that Hawaii. Come on.
We have traffic. We have traffic.
You do. Oahu's a beautiful island, though. All right. So that being said, we're talking about prospecting. How many of your agents come in and prospect on a daily basis? I'm curious.
So if they're AOD, which means agent of the day, they're getting all the hot stuff. So their butts are in the office on that particular day if they're assigned to it. Mm-hmm. I'm standing in a room. Talk about getting B slapped. We bought an office and then we dropped $200K into remodeling it when the market corrected by 50%. Excellent timing. We're so brilliant.
Yeah. In 2023 is when we were doing the remodeling.
I get it. Yeah. Okay. So go ahead. What were you saying?
Yeah, this is the room. And then, just like number one script.
So you guys are Keller Williams, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you know Chris Heller probably.
Yep.
Oh, we know Chris very well.
Yeah, Chris is a very good friend of mine. And when I met Chris, probably it was right around 30 years ago, maybe 32 years ago. Chris and I were the first two guys I knew of that were building teams. And Chris was the very first person I'd ever met that had a stand-up work environment for making calls. And what he'd done is he built a shelf around the wall, and he just had dividers. This is before they had stand-up desks, right, where they'd go up and down and all that stuff. And basically that's what it was. It was just like that. Yeah. And then now imagine that going all the way around the room. Right. And so I copied him. I'm not an innovator. I just freaking copied the guy. I figured it worked for him. It must work for me. And I ended up with 21 people in a room. Actually, it was a garage. It was a 2-car garage. I turned into a call center.
Wow.
Yeah. And I turned, it was just a detached garage at our house. And I had 21 people prospecting out of that room. And I copied everything that Chris was doing in terms of, I had the mirror, I had the scripts, I had the computers, it was brilliant the way he set it up. And we absolutely crushed it. And so that being said, most of the time we had 16, it was anywhere from 16 to 21 people in the room at any given time. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because there's one of the things that I've noticed in the industry in the last decade is we have gotten weak and entitled as an industry, right? I mean, it's just, so you agree with that? I'm glad to hear that.
I agree 100%.
Yeah. And I think, the days of, like, back in the day, there were a lot of they were tough agents, man. They were in there, they were doing the grind, they were getting it done. And now it's just all this weak, entitled, I'm going to point at stuff on TikTok and get all this business. And I'm like, oh my God.
AI will do it for me.
Right. And I own an AI company, and I'm telling people automation is augmentation, not replacement. Right. Like, it's AI should not we have voice and text AI, and I'll tell you, and it's good. It's very good. In fact, the only company out there that I think has anything even remotely as good as ours is Wailopo, and they'll only do it on their leads, and they're very expensive, but it's a good product. By the way, created by one of our coaches, Barry Jenkins, was, he came up through Club Wealth and all that. But my point is this: you cannot, under any circumstance, use AI as a replacement for human effort. You just can't. It can augment it, but if you try and use it as a replacement, I think you're missing the boat. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, we went to the extreme of, we had somebody come in and spend a whole day getting B-roll with us, recorded our voices saying whatever, chicken noodle soup, and all of that, and then can create videos from the B-roll with what do they call it? Voice cloning.
Yeah, except for they couldn't get your voice because they haven't mastered the Hawaiian accent.
Hawaiian pidgin accent.
Yeah, they didn't get it right.
But I didn't care, because people who are listening to that who don't know me just hear what sounds like me talking, and great. But when 80% of your business is going to come with follow-up, and most agents, you guys suck at your follow-up. And then the last, putting it 5 yards and into the end zone is your belly button to belly button, face to face, voice to voice connection with another human being. Hello, folks. A virtual assistant from the Philippines and AI ain't going to replace that. Not yet. Think about it. Let's use logic and reasonable deduction. Zillow has been spending millions trying to replace us agents. They haven't figured it out yet. So it's going to be a while.
I love hearing you say that. You are speaking my language. All right, so let's come back. And I love the way you put that, because, I think you're absolutely right. You think about what's going to bring me 80% of the results, right? 80% of the results is pick up the freaking phone, right? Like that's 80% of this business. That's just what it is. The other 20%, you get a lot of different ways. I agree with you on the belly to belly, right? Like we are the goal for the phone. And this, actually, you were talking about dials earlier. One of the things, if I could give you permission to coach for a second.
Yes. We're open to any and everything.
I'm going to give you some advice that I got from one of my coaches. So he's a Club Wealth coach today. He was a Tom Ferry coach for, 5-6 years now. He's been a coach with us now for about a decade. His name is Luigi Caprio. Luigi gave me some great advice about a decade ago. Changed my world. He says, Michael, quit worrying about calls and contacts. He said, the only thing you need to be concerned about is appointments set. That's the KPI that matters most. He said, because here's the thing. If we focus on calls, then people just hustle to get through their calls. If we focus on contacts, then people are like, okay, I got a contact, got to get on to the next one, right? But if we focus on appointments, doesn't matter how many calls or contacts you make, you're going to have to hit the numbers to get to that number of appointments anyway. But what will happen is on the phone call, if you're focused on the appointment, guess what happens? You'll go deeper with each person. You'll develop a better relationship, and you'll go for the appointment. And
better conversations happen. Better conversations.
Yes, absolutely.
I love that.
I was blown away. Well, and here's the thing. And it sounded great when he first said it. And I'm all about, it sounded great. But what really blew me away was the results. When we actually made the switch and we really started to focus on that, the results actually. And so what I always tell people is I don't care what market they're in, whether it's Hawaii or Topeka or Southern California or Florida or wherever. You want to make 6 figures in this business, it's easy. It's 2 appointments a day, 5 days a week. That's it.
From what you shared with me, I wanted to clarify, though. I got a really important question.
Yeah.
Is Luigi the third Mario brother?
Dude, if you knew, first you got to get to know Luigi. He is hilarious, and he would love that you said that. That's funny. He's such a good guy. But okay,
that totally makes sense. Focus on the goal.
What a difference. All right, so let's back up. So I want to come back to, let's say you're brand new again, and you're wanting to build a team. You're just getting started on building your team again. What would you do differently today if you knew then what you know now, specific to building a team?
I'd say that's a great question. And then we're part of the radio and television. My opinion, we're part of the great.
Yeah.
We're part of the greatest mastermind on the universe. And there was a speaker there that blew our minds regarding investing in real estate. Not going to say who he was. That was you. And thank you. That was very heartfelt what you said to come back to help Matt out and serve us. And we were in the room, and that was awesome in New York coming together for that mastermind. But I go to my rate brothers and sisters and I ask them this: if you're brand new today, what would be your number one piece of advice to give to agents? Because we don't need, this is the people that are recruiting us. They're not rainmakers. They may have been a teacher yesterday, and then today they're going to be a realtor. Mm-hmm. What would be your number one advice for them? Would be join a team, spend 3 years, pour into them. You're not going to get any momentum to your third year. Don't move, stop looking all around. For building a team, mm-hmm. my number one advice came from a coach. Mm-hmm. Here's for you listeners, write this down. Stop your car, pull over right now, and write this down. 90% of you, this is called advice that's called addition by subtraction. 90% of you have no business running a team.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's difficult. All the joy in your world will come from people, and all of the pain and the blankety comes from people. If you're not good at leading and managing people, or leading people and hiring people that manage people, don't start a team. Everybody thinks that was the best advice I got from within our own brokerage, that brand name. Mm-hmm. 90% of you have no business running a team. But if you're going to start a team, here's what I would tell you. And stop bringing on buyer agents that are going to leave you in 6 months because you're so disorganized that why are they staying with you? Get an assistant. And I would tell you, not that we want to offshore stuff and I'm all about the United States and yada, yada, but virtual assistants in third world countries, they appreciate the opportunity. They don't get entitled and they're loyal and they stay with you. Agents come and go. U.S. admin, come and go. But we've got U.S.
Not
admins
all of them, though. We have some really great admin have been with us for a very long time. Mm-hmm. And we've gotten our admin assistant. So our on-island admin, they have virtual assistants that assist them. And they love it because they can be more productive together.
We have a virtual assistant that's been with us for 15 years. We love her to death. Her name is Renee. She's our secret weapon. She knows so much about our business and our accounts and our PIN codes. She could literally hire somebody, have us execute it, and she could probably run our company. Thank goodness she's never done it.
You better be watching your back. I'll tell you what, sleep with one eye open. That's all I got to say. It's I love hearing you say that. I've got I don't have 15 year, but I've got a VA that's been with me for 11 years. And I've got a local team member. She ran my team for a decade, and now she's running my son's team. And so she's been with us on and off over the last 20 years now.
Wow.
She's wonderful, wonderful. And so I agree that there will be some that will have great longevity, but I also agree with you that there will be a lot that won't. And I think that, a lot of team leaders now, they get caught up in this, but I spend all this time training them, and then they leave me and they go and work for my competitor, or they go become my competitor and blah, blah, and why would I go through all this and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, dude, that's the deal, man. Like that's
life.
That's business.
Yeah.
That's the business.
Yeah.
You pour into them, and guess what? You pour into them even more. And some will PCS, and some will die, and some will move, and some will go back to their day jobs. But that's okay. Make your bench deep. Love the ones that are with you. And so we do have a core group that's been with us from the beginning.
And I would say also pour into them. So a lot of our admin, we send them to this personal development training called PSI. I don't know if you've heard of it before. But it's
Personal
really
Self-Improvement Institute. It's in every major.
To focus. Yeah. It's for them to work on themselves and their personal growth. Because for us,
nothing to do with real estate.
No, because if they are showing up as their best self, then they're going to do very well on the business side as well. So we pay for all of our admin to go through that. And there's 3 different levels of this training where there's the basic training, And then they have a 7-day course where it's a full immersion. They fly out to the mainland and go have this experience. And then the last one is the leadership one, which our president of our company just got back from. And these trainings are not inexpensive. And we're very
thousands
happy.
of dollars.
Yeah.
And one disclaimer though, there's no ayahuasca at any of these things.
But this has been really helpful, I think, for like the culture of our team, and that our people know that we care about them and like just their personal growth, and not just what's happening within the team, but also what's happening
at home.
At
because
home. Yeah.
Guess what? Somebody who is a terrible dad is going to be a terrible agent. Somebody who is not good to their family is not going to be good to our clients. They got to be good all the way around, because unless you're hiring Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, where they can go be something else at home and something else at work. It doesn't work that way. You got to pour into people.
We've even been able to, because of the pandemic, this PSI was able to create some of the Zoom training. So at least for the basic, and we have sent several of our virtual assistants through the basic, and it's been great to be able to give back to them, because I know it's pretty difficult for them to get a visa to come and travel to the United States.
And Adrian and Michael, speaking of visas, I want to talk about something that I don't hear hardly ever on podcasts in any industry regarding whatever. We're all trying to focus on what's the best and what's the nugget to do best and whatever that is. Exercise and eating right.
Yeah.
Whenever I get in, like me and Chris Heller, when we go in the lobby and do LobbyCon at Rate, I just ask them, what kind of supplements are you taking? We're like old people pulling out a little supplement tray, but we're not taking pharmaceuticals. We're taking supplements so that we can live longer and have better lives. Because here's the question to all of you listening to this. Who gives a beepity beep how many homes you sell, what your volume is, what your net profit is, if your health sucks?
Yeah.
You're going to go show a home and you're out of breath when you go to the second floor? Give me a break. What are you doing this for? Adrian and I are all sweaty because we just came from an F45 workout. I'm glad you can't smell me through this webinar. It's terrible. My smell is terrible.
Alex Hormozy.
Yeah. Oh, I love him.
Dude,
no
Alex,
BS.
I saw a video. He had a video this morning. It was so funny. He was talking about gummies, and he's like, "No, not those kind of gummies." He says, he pulls out this clear fishing tackle box, and it's like got this. It's this tray with these dividers. It's about that thick, and it's got like different colored gummies in each of the different sections. He's like, "These are all my supplements." He's like, "I just take supplement gummies, and so when I feel like snacking, instead of eating a snack, I grab one of these supplements that I should be taking anyway, and I snack on that as a gummy." And it satisfies my need for a snack and gives me the nutrition that I need all at the same time. So
I love that.
That's our question for you, Mr. Michael. What is your workout and what's your diet? What's your workout and what do you eat?
So it's interesting you mentioned that. So historically throughout my life, I have been terrible about my diet and about my health. I mean, terrible. And about 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, my wife went and had weight loss surgery and changed her life. And I was scared to death to go. I know I probably should, because I was way, way, way overweight. And I was just scared. I'm afraid of needles. I mean, let's call it what it is. I could never have been a drug addict. I don't understand how people stick a needle in. It freaked me out. Anyway, so about 4 or 5 years ago, with her holding my hand literally the entire way, I went down to Tijuana and had weight loss surgery, changed my life. And I looked at that as an opportunity to get my health back on track. So I started doing okay, right? I started eating a little bit better. And I say that, of course, I've got, a baggie of chocolate chips sitting here on my desk. That's probably not, this probably shouldn't be there. And by the way, this is water I'm drinking out of my beer stand. I don't drink alcohol or do drugs or anything like that. This is just water, but I happen to live in a Bavarian village. So here's my water.
Water. Yes. Hydrate.
But But then I got called out by one of our coaching clients, a guy named Donnie Morrow, called me out here mid last year. And he's like, Hellickson, here you are, you're teaching us all this stuff and you're helping us all be successful. And dude, you're going to die. He's like, you don't eat right, you don't exercise, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, you need to start leading by example. And so I started working out. And, my first goal, and I'm sharing this in detail because I think it's important for people to hear, because I think people see me a lot of times and they think, oh, this guy's all, everything he does, he's successful at it. And he's, got this uber successful guy and blah, blah, it's all easy for him and great for him and blah. No, I suck at stuff more than I'm good at stuff. And frankly, when I started off, my first goal was just don't hate the gym. That was literally it. Like it wasn't get a great workout. It was just don't hate the gym. And so I started going, and I wasn't going to do 5 days a week. I'm like, okay, I'll just do 3 days a week. And if I can just go and just not hate it, that's a victory. And I started finding things I liked about it, right? Like there was this piece of equipment I enjoyed working out on, that piece of equipment, and I was just a Planet Fitness guy, right? I'm not like this Gold's Gym, look at me, man. Yeah, right. Like that's never been me, right? And I'm not saying, it wouldn't be cool to be that guy, but it's just not me. And so long story short, I went for about 5 months working out about 3 times a week, and noticeable difference. I mean, very noticeable. I went from dental floss arms to no longer dental floss arms, right? Like I'm not in your kind of shape, but I'm in a lot better shape than I was. And so I'm still eating like crap. So that's another big step for me, is now starting to eat better. So I'm focusing more on eating more protein and less, sugar. Not saying I'm great at it, but again, this is the problem I think a lot of people have. I think a lot of people, they think they're going to have, they have to change everything immediately overnight, and it's not lasting. And for me, I've just been, okay, I'm going to change one thing. Just going to get a little better at it. Then I'm going to change the next thing. I'm going to get a little better at that. I'm going to change the next thing, get a little better at that. And that's worked really well for me. So we talking about prospecting, all this kind of bring it full circle. You think about all these people out there right now, and there are definitely people out there right now that need to go cold turkey and need to start hitting the phones 4 hours a day, or they're going to be out of this business. That's for sure.
Yeah.
There are definitely those, right? And I'm a real believer. 4 hours a day of making calls. I mean, that's part-time, man. Like if you just do that 5 days a week, you could set your 2 appointments a day, 10 appointments a week. You'll make 6 figures. Like that's very doable. And you can hold 8 open houses a month. There's another way to make 6 figures right now. Just 8 open houses a month, right? Now that being said, for a lot of people, they're so afraid of picking up the phone that they just got to start with an hour a day. And there's I don't like saying that, because frankly, I think it's weak. It bugs me to say that, but the reality is, man, we've gotten weak in this industry.
Yeah. Yep.
We just
one of the things that we do is we do a weekly role play, and they, come up with different situations, and the agents have so much fun. And then they get really excited to go bring it to their open house or whatever situation that's being role played. But it's a group activity. We're in it together.
And here's what the problem is with you agents. You're all practicing on clients when you should be practicing with each other. Stop practicing on the clients. That costs
you're saying don't practice on the clients. See, I'm just the opposite. I think role play belongs in the bedroom. I think if you want to, you want to make more money, you should be role playing on clients. And here's the thing. What I love, because here's the problem. The problem with role playing with people in your office is they've got the script, right? I would much rather role play on clients. It's like Mike Tyson said, everybody's got a plan until they get hit in the face, right? You never know until you get in the ring. Really
that's not what he said. He said, well, everybody's got a plan until I hit them in the face.
Exactly, right? But check this out, right? If you had any sense, Jake Paul would be scared to death right now. I'm just throwing that out there. That guy's going to get destroyed. But that being said, here's where I'm going with this. I really believe that if you could just get agents in the same room, great example, my son, he's 22 years old. He's the number one agent, number one listing agent in the country right now.
Awesome.
And but here, I'm not saying this to brag about him. I'm saying this to just illustrate It's the system. Like do I think he's a good closer? Yeah. Do I think he's good on the phone? Yeah, but he wasn't to begin with. He sucked in the beginning. I mean, he was terrible in the beginning. But what he did was he just did it over and over and over again. And more importantly, he did it over and over and over again in a room with other agents doing the same thing. And I think that's the key component that people miss. I think when you're prospecting, it's really hard to prospect at home by yourself. It's
Yeah.
really, but when you
Like working out at home, it's never going to last too long.
right? That's a very good point. Yes. And so that's where I just feel like if we could get agents to show up in the office and make calls together in the office at the same time, and people complain about the noise level, and who cares? That's great. Energy begets energy. Success begets success, right? Activity begets activity. I wouldn't worry about that. Let the noise happen. I don't care if the person on the phone can hear it. What I want is people to be able to hang up the phone and say, dude, Adrian, I just got off the phone with this guy and he just handed me my hat. Here's what he said. What would you have done? And then Adrian could say, hey, here's what I would do. Or Attilio could say, hey, look, try saying this next time. And when you do that, when you have the opportunity to do that 4 hours a day, 5 days a week, you're going to get pretty freaking good, pretty fast. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, one of my jobs in college was door knocking. Aluminum siding. I was setting up in Sierra Vista, Arizona. It was hotter than Hades. I hated it, but once I got past the first 300 doors, it was easy.
Yeah. It's funny you say that, because to you, I know you say that kind of tongue in cheek because a lot of people, 300 doors sounds like a lot of doors, but man, when you've done 300 doors, it's not a lot of doors. That's like that's just getting started.
Well, the thing I want to back insert in there is that you've got to take care of your health because your brain is the biggest sexual organ in your body. And if you're not feeding it and supplying it with proper fuel, that's what you're using when you're on the phone to connect with people to convert it into a closing, not any other aspect of your body. And so you've got to, focus on your sleep. You got to focus on what's going in your pie hole, and you got to go move your dang bodies. Here's the stats for the US. 30% of us are obese. 60% of us are PHAT. No, FAT.
What's that?
Fat.
Oh, fat. Yeah, okay.
So that is like you got to.
No, we're not PHAT fat. We're FAT fat.
No.
Yeah,
FAT. Fat.
Attilio, I'm really glad you brought that up though, because one of the things, you talk about your mental health, and this is something that's not being talked enough about. It's not being talked about enough in real estate. And I think we have an epidemic of poor mental health in real estate right now.
Yeah.
And frankly, in the country overall, I think that's the real pandemic. That being said, one of the things when you talk about moving your body, did you know, and I'm sure you already know this, but when you move your muscles, when you contract your muscles, you secrete hormones that, serotonin and dopamine, it causes your body to secrete hormones that cause you to be happy, that cause you to feel that reduce depression, that reduce anxiety. And so if for no other reason, and watch this, if there's anybody watching this right now who's feeling depressed or anxious, go work out. You'd be amazed at how that will change your depression and your anxiety and what a benefit it will be for that. And I tell you that I see a lot of that. It's crazy how much depression and anxiety we see as coaches with people that, everybody thinks are dialed in. And it's like, no, man, like these people are human. They're going through the same stuff.
You're feeling low? Tell you what, get low. Give me 10 push-ups and 10 jumping jacks. You still feeling low? Give me another 10. You're still feeling bummed? Give me another 10.
Yeah.
Move your body, but you ain't going to do it at home. You got to get into some kind of group workouts or group. This office and our culture is about working out. There is beauty in the negative space. This is from Japanese, the culture. There is beauty in the negative space. The in-between space is you doing your job. The negative space, like a Zen garden, is just as valuable as doing your prospecting is what you're doing in that negative space, which is called working out, and what you're eating and drinking. Because and you said it earlier.
Attilio, where is our office located in relation to the F45?
65 feet away from an F45 gym.
Perfect.
And do we have a shower in our office so that
we have
no
a shower
excuses?
in our office? No excuses for working out and getting your ass in the office and prospecting.
And do our admin get paid for a 45 membership or gym
Yes, they
membership
do.
as
They get
part of their
paid for
benefit
gym
package?
memberships. They get paid for gym
Yes.
memberships, and they see their leaders in there. Folks, I'm 57 years old, and I'm in better shape than 80% of the people my age. And my favorite thing to say when I'm on whatever, like a Spartan, old man on your left.
Passing.
I love it. Well, look, I want to be respectful of your time. So
Yeah.
here's what I'm going to ask. Why don't you guys give me any parting thoughts? What would you like to say in wrapping up here? And actually, before you give me your parting thoughts, tell us, first of all, you cover all of Oahu. Is that correct?
We cover
Yes.
all of Oahu. We have for 18 years, we've been working with very specific referral partners, not just referral agents, that do things at our high level. And so we literally cover, what's unique about our marketing, it covers the whole state because we're 2,500 miles away from any other piece of land in the middle of the ocean. Our marketing covers the whole state. So we
we've created partnerships and relationships with agents on each of the islands.
Every island. Yeah.
And then on Oahu, our team members are scattered throughout the island because it doesn't really take that long to get anywhere. I mean, unless you get stuck in our traffic, but you know, maybe like an hour at most from point A to point B, the furthest point.
And I'm born and raised local boy. I've been here 57 years, lived here all my life. Adrian's military, hoo-ah, and a veteran. So we can pull out your veteran card. We can pull out your local card.
I love it. Good stuff. All right. And so if they want to get a hold of you, how they get a hold of you?
Super easy. TeamLally.com. What's that website? TeamLally, LALLY.com. They can give us a call. 808.
Yeah. Do you want to give them my cell? 227-2703. Yeah.
Give us that again, Adrian.
808-227-2703.
Perfect. Okay. Now, parting thoughts. What would you want to share? If you could only share one thing with the agents listening, we've got people at all different production levels listening to this, and some are investing, some are not investing, some are on teams, some are not. But what would your advice be? I want to hear from each of you on this.
My number one piece of advice is we have many areas of our life. The one that everybody needs to focus on, that is the foundation for all other areas of your life, is your health. Because I guarantee you when you're on your deathbed, you're not going to be saying, I wish I sold more homes. You're not.
Yeah.
Focus on your health and everything else will be better. And if not, at least you'll look great.
And my advice is who you are in business with matters, and who you are coaching with matters. You need to be surrounded with other people that want to grow and have a growth mindset and are continually improving on themselves, whether it's on the health side, a business side, their personal life, but just continuing to improve. If you surround yourself with people that are stagnant, you will become stagnant. So make sure that you're with a team and you're surrounded with people that are continuing to grow.
Yeah. Proximity is power.
That's great advice.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, and I really like the way that you guys framed that. There's 5 key areas in our lives. There's family, health, family, business, financial, health, both physical and mental, and our spiritual life, right?
Yeah.
And to your point, we've got to cultivate all of those to make sure that we're really truly healthy. So that being said, I would just part with this. First of all, thank you both for being on Club Wealth TV today. And I would share with our audience, our core value at Club Wealth is that no success in the world can compensate for failure in the home, right? And so we're all about helping you guys go out and make tons and tons of money. We want to help you make tons and tons of money. We want to help you invest that money in real estate so you can eventually get not only out of the rat race, but you can get to a point where you can, if you want to sell real estate the rest of your life, great, do it, but do it because you want to, not because you have to, and make it so that you can leave a legacy, so that you can leave the world a much better place in all kinds of different ways. And by the way, money allows you the ability to do that. That said, don't screw up your family in the process, right? We got to take care of our families. And so that said, I really appreciate you guys being on, and I hope you guys have a fantastic day. And I'm sure we'll be chatting more soon. And for everybody else,
yes,
go ahead.
we're looking forward to having you on our radio show and being, you're going to be the guest.
Oh,
Yes.
excited. I can't wait. That sounds fun. Do we have that scheduled already?
I
So.
know
Maybe.
that I think we do. We're
We
working
will.
on it.
Awesome.
Yes.
If we don't, we will.
That's awesome. I'll mention that to Tara. I'll make sure she gets that. I'll make sure she gets that scheduled.
Hey.
But long story short, go ahead. What do you say, Till?
Yeah. Last thing I want to say about Michael, we had a chance to see you and be in your presence face to face at the Rate Mastermind. And I want to say that my take on you is you're a genuine, authentic person. You shared your failures, and people share success and we're impressed. But when you share your failures, we connect. And Michael was awesome speaker, just gave it to us straight. There's some things that you shared with us that are literally is going to change our lives with the investment side. Yeah.
I'm really glad to hear that.
Thank you.
I really do. It's funny you say as soon as you said, Michael, share all this great stuff. I'm like, well, you're only saying that because I failed so much, because I suck at so much. But you know what? Listen, man, I love that you bring that up, because we talk about this all the time. But guys, we got to be willing to fail, and we got to be willing to share our failures. And if we can just do that, then we can help other people avoid those same mistakes. And if anybody that says they haven't made mistakes, they're just
full of it.
Right. Yeah, they're just stuck in ego. I mean, we all screwed stuff up. I mean, come on. I mean, it's anyway. Well, thank you guys so much. I'm looking forward to being on your radio show and chatting more here. So, all right. Anything else?
Thanks for having us.
Aloha.
All right.
Thanks.
Sounds
Aloha.
great, guys.
Bye.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
87%. Yeah, that's the percentage of all real estate agents that get in the business today that'll be gone in 2 years. Let me tell you something. Why is there so much turnover in real estate? Because it isn't easy. And because most people don't know exactly what they need to do to get to the next level. Now look, regardless of whether you're brand new to the industry or you're a team leader, you've got 40 people on your team and you just want to get to the next level. If you're doing 10 transactions a year, you want to get to 25. You're doing 500 transactions a year, you want to get to 1,000. You're at 1,000, you want to get to 10,000. Let me tell you something. You need the right coach. Why? Because Club Wealth is the only coaching company on the planet that will literally guarantee that you will double your income or make at least an extra $100,000 your first year coaching with us, or we will give you 100% of your investment back. This is for people of all levels. Click the link below, sign up for the appropriate tier level, and let's get you a strategy session today. And I promise you, I 100% guarantee you, promise you that you will walk away with a heart full of gratitude for the time that we took for you, because you got so much value out of that call. Schedule your strategy session today. I promise you'll be glad you did.